All right, so let's get to the code. So first we need to install everything. What I want to do is I want to create a project directory, and then inside that project directory, I'm going to put a PocketBase directory, and then I'm going to have a directory for my application. So we'll start by creating that project directory, my project. Sorry. We'll cd into that. And then in here, we'll create a backend directory where we will install PocketBase. So I'm here at the PocketBase website. If you come to the website and you go to documentation, there is a list. I have my Mac. If you can see, I've downloaded already. I have it in a directory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy from that directory into my backend directory. So let's do this. So I can say cp -r, and then I'll just get this passed. I don't have to type it. From that directory to backend. So if we ls/la, you can see I have my backend directory, and then now I'll create my Vite project at this level also. And so to do that, because I'm going to try and use Tailwind this time around, I'm at the official Tailwind site on how to install Tailwind with Vite, and I'm using Vue. Clicked here, so I'm just going to copy this command and paste that, and we'll just leave it. No, we won't. My project app, what we'll call it, so that we make sure that it's a little bit different from the root, my project app. And now if we go back up, cd, we can see that we have the backend, which is where PocketBase is, and then we have my project, which is in my project app. So let's cd my project app, npm install. I think all that stuff is already done, but let's just be sure. And then now let's go down here to install Tailwind. And let's copy that command. And make sure you're running it in your Tailwind directory. Sorry, in your app directory, not in the backend or in the root. And then, did it run both commands? No, it didn't. Yes, it did. It ran the npx command also. So then now we have to configure our template paths. So let's open up Visual Studio Code. Actually, let's open up Visual Studio Code at a higher level. So, and we'll load it up here. And so now this is where our app is, and this is where. So it's saying we need to update our Tailwind config.js. There it is, our Tailwind config.js. I'm just going to copy the whole thing. And then add Tailwind to my CSS. Do I have a CSS file here? Source style.css. I'm going to get rid of all this because we're not going to use any of it. And copied. Get those in there. And start my build process. And then I should be good to go. So let's just click this up. And we will start our build process. But I'm in the wrong directory. Go to cd, my project app, and then vm run dev. Start the build process. And let's take a look at what we got. We'll copy this. And we will open up another window. And we have our application. As you can see, it's kind of thrown off to the side, so it took all the styling away. And then let's just make sure we have Tailwind properly in place, and we'll just copy this code here and drop it into our app template. I'm going to get rid of all this anyway, so we might as well start now. So let's just take all this out. And I'll remove that div. And let's see if it's right. All right, so we have Tailwind in there, and I think I have my Tailwind util helpers in there. So, yeah, I do. All right, so we have Tailwind in. So we're going to start out by just doing everything inside of this one file. And then what we'll do in additional, more advanced videos, we will start to break it out. Because the whole purpose here is to just get us all familiar with PocketBase. So just doing a little bit more cleanup here. We're going to delete this component because I just don't want it lying around. Get to trash. And so what we're going to do, we're going to have a one-page app. And what it's going to do is it's going to render. I'm trying to clean them all up. So let's refresh this. And so what it's going to do is at the top here, it's going to render your email address when you're logged in, and when you're not logged in, it's going to render a login form. And so that's going to be the first phase of what we're going to do. But let's get to, let me move my script setup down here. So I like it down here. And so the first thing we do is let's get PocketBase in our app. And so to do that, I'm going to install it on the on-mounted. So first, let me get some installed import. On-mounted from Vue. I know I'm going to use a ref, so I might as well get that in there. And we'll start there. And so let's go back to our documentation. So for let's get PocketBase running. So I'm going to open up another terminal window down here. And here I'm going to switch to CD backend. And then inside here, I'm going to run this command to get PocketBase running. Let's see, how the heck do I get around that? Okay, so yes, I do want to open it. I held the command and clicked on open. And that looks like that will try to start it up. So I'm hoping now that it approved at that time, I will be able to run it down here. So let's see. Yeah, so now it's running. Okay, so now I have it running. And then they have some other help. They tell you what to do to keep your data from getting pushed to committed. So we'll put that in there also. So we go into our backend directory here and we add a git ignore. And then inside of that git ignore, we're going to put our PB data, and then also our PB migrations. So we're set up there. We have our PocketBase running. And so now let's get it mounted. So we're going to go to documentation. We're going to go to documentation. We'll start off with authentication. And we're basically just going to copy what we have going on here. So first we need to import PocketBase. And then I only want it to run once, which is on mounted. And so what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. Well, I'm not going to auth, but we're going to get our PocketBase mounted. We'll deal with the URL stuff in a later example. But basically what we're doing here is we're passing in the URL to where PocketBase has been initialized. Since we need PocketBase everywhere, we're just going to create a const out, not a const. We'll say let PB equals null, and then we're just going to assign PB here. So that we're going to PocketBase, and then that is all we need to get access to this PocketBase object, which you can see all the other calls are off of. So the next thing is let's take a quick look at the admin UI for PocketBase. You can see it's running here at 8090. If I click on that, all right, we're back here, and let's just open up another window here and put PocketBase inside there. All right, I'm going to just create my first account. and then I'll create it and I will log in. And so I'll open this up a little bit for now. Actually, I think I can take some room from Visual Studio Code. So let's spread this out a bit. And we're just going to create a test user to test login. And that keeps up. We'll use my Gmail account. And we'll set a username and we'll set a password. Okay, and we will create that user. So we have the user there, and then let's just come back here and we'll just follow what they've done to make sure that everything's working. Is we will just use this login auth with password. So we'll say PB. Definitely don't want to do an admin. I want to do this one down here. So let's just copy this. And my email is a Gmail. And my password is, and this, and let's dump all this stuff at the bottom. Let's give us some more room here. Okay, so it should have logged me in. Let's see. Failed to visit import PocketBase from source at. I installed PocketBase, didn't I? Actually, I didn't. So let me go back here. Let's stop this. Okay, let's run it again. And it seems to be running fine. And now let's see if we got some interesting stuff dumped in our debug log. I don't normally work in Safari, so you have to bear with me. All right, so it seems like we're getting the output we expected. AuthStore is valid, is true. The token gets dumped. The model ID gets dumped. And we could get some more stuff off this model ID. So let's say model. We can get my email. So you can see it gets my email. And actually, let's just dump the whole model. So we have the record of the information from the authenticated user. And we're going to use that now to start to do some work on the UI. So let's do that next. Okay, let's start to do some UI stuff. So let's copy some Tailwind code here to kind of wrap my whole application in. And I'm cheating here on this Tailwind. And what I'm doing is I'm over here in this awesome resource called TailwindUI, and I've just identified some UI elements that I like, and I'm just going to steal the CSS from these styles so that I don't have to sit here and try to figure this out on the fly in front of everybody, because I'm not that good at it. So, and then what we want to do is inside of here, the first thing we want is H1 that is going to say welcome. And then we're going to have so what we want to do is we want to get the name of the person that's logged in and post it up there. All right, so we're able to get our information here, but this AuthStore is clearing it out, so it's going to log my user out. So I'm never going to get any real information up top here. So first thing is let's remove this line. The next thing is let's create a reference to hold the current user. So so we don't need this anymore, because what we're going to do is we're just going to keep this constant here for now. Actually, no, this won't work because I'm going to need it outside to make other API calls. So let's put this back and just come up here and create a reference for a current user. So we'll say const current user equals ref. And then down here, after we successfully logged in, we'll just say current user.value equals this model, which is the user. And we've removed this. And so now we can just go up here and say current user name, and then we get the name of the person who's logged in. And so, of course, the next thing we want to do is be able to log out. So let's just go down here, div button, and we're going to make this our logout. So we'll just go in here, and we will log out. And then I know I need to do some styling. So let's go over here to our Tailwind. That looks like a nice button down the bottom. Let's look at my HTML. Let's find our button. Yeah, this is the button I wanted. We're going to copy this button. It's a lot of Tailwind. Whew. And we're going to call this. And can I clean this up at all? Is it going to just go across my whole page? It's going to go across my whole page. Okie dokie. All right, let's see what our button looks like. So there's my logout button. And type button. And we're going to say do logout. Let's add our do logout function down here. So we'll drop it to our script. Export, no constant. So we are going to do our logout, which is pretty straightforward. It's that same call we had in there before that was kind of keeping us from showing the UI because it was logging us out immediately afterwards. PocketBase .AuthStore .clear and that should, why is that button, why is this do logout still complaining? There you go. And our do logout is clear, and what we want to do is we only want to show this if I have a user. So v if, let's say div v, so only if I have a user, we're going to show this first part. And so that's that, and we'll end it here. All right. And so when I log out, my user should go away. And well, for now, we'll do this the easy way. What we'll do is when the user hits logout, we'll just clear the user, current user dot value equals null. All right, so do logout. And now you're gone. You're logged out. And now when you're logged out, what I want to happen is I want to be able to log in. And we will do v if else, v, and then in here, log in. Okay, what's it complaining about? Here's my vf. Oh, am I missing a div? That div does that. There we go. All right, so now we're at the login section. And so for the login, we're going to need two fields. And so we'll go back to our form, back over here to Tailwind, and there you go. And we have one input form. And we're going to take, and this is going to be username. Set the autocomplete to none. And that is our input. And let's put our placeholder. And looks like we need some margin here. What is it? Padding. I always get it confused. Why is that? Oh, it's not Y, it's X. There we go. So we get a little bit of space, because if you notice before, it was like sitting on top of each other. We don't want that. And so let's change this city label. And then we're just going to copy this again. As I think I've told you guys before, I'm really not very fond of Tailwind because of all the stuff I need to type up, but let's just see how it goes. Email, and then this will be password. And let's put a little bit of this margin top at 2. Oh, not that one, right here. We need a margin top. And up here, let's do a little bit more of a margin top 4. We move that down. And then we need a button. So let's use our button we got from up here. Let's put up this button its own little div to give it some space. Actually, let's just copy the div that it already has up here. And we have our logout. Oh, this is our do login. And let's go add our login function on the bottom here. And we will just, oh, because I resaved it, so that's why it's showing up again. Because I saved it again, it executed this code here to log in. We're about to remove it. So we are going to take this code out of here right now. And we're going to go down inside of our do login. We're going to paste our login code in here. We're going to get our, I didn't put my V models up here, so let's go up here. And what we want to do on this input, I'll just put it up here on the side so we can actually see it. Do our V model, and we will do username. And we will come down here and set our password. And it's going to complain because we haven't defined them yet, so let's define them down here. Okay, what's it complaining about? Oh, we'll worry about that later. I was complaining this is async. And we will need to, now let's use our references. And so we have our username dot value and our password. So now you can see you're not getting logged in at startup, so let's log the user in. Oh, I need to change that from log out. But you see it worked, I got logged in, so let's go up here and fix this. All right, so, but here's what you notice, I'm already logged in, but if I refresh, it logs me out. It has lost the user because I'm not checking for it anywhere. So what we can do here is we can subscribe to get that event and determine if there's a user. And so that's what we're going to do on mounted. So after we get PocketBase installed here, we're going to ask PocketBase, do I already have a user somewhere? And if I do have a user, then we're going to make this assignment like we have down here. So let's just come up here and drop this in here. And you can see what we got. So it automatically logged me in. But we needed to be a little bit smarter than that because we also want to know when the person gets logged out. So if I log out, it's clearing out the user here in the call. Where is it? I log out, I'm clearing out the auth user, but wouldn't be nice if we can just listen to that event and clear out the auth user. And there is a way to do that. And so you can listen to an on change off of the AuthStore. And that's what we are going to do. So right here, we have this AuthStore. And we can do this. We can say AuthStore on change. We're not going to use the value that you get. I think you get the token as the value you get from there. But what we're going to say is we're going to basically check if we have a user. And if we have a user, we're going to assign it. So actually, I think it's just as simple as this. So when the AuthStore changes, if there's a user here, it will set the value. If there's no user, then this model will be empty and it will clear that out. So let's try this. So let's log in. Well, first to make sure it works, let's remove the clear. Actually, we can remove this too, because it should automatically assign that, and it should automatically clear this. So let's log in and see. It automatically found the user, and it set it. So when I log out, it automatically realized there was no user here, and it cleared the user out. So first, let's go back up here and fix my password, type password. Okay. So did you, and let's, just so we know, let's, no, we don't need to dump it out. We show that it works. So log in. Logged in, we know we have our user because the information is up there. And then as I said, you can see I've cleared out. I'm not clearing out my current user here. It's happening on the AuthStore change state. So log out and it's gone. So we've covered login and log out. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, we're almost at the finish line. What we want to do now is we want to be able to actually create a user account. Also along the way, I found another issue. So you know how we got the log out to work. So now you can see I'm logged in, but when I refresh the page, so let's log, actually, oh, I think I already put the fix in. So this on change has the ability to fire this event immediately when it happens. At the end of the previous section, I did not have this trigger on there. So when the trigger is removed, right, you can see it refreshed, but it didn't fire this event to assign the user because the user was persisted from the previous session. If I put my trigger back on, fire immediately, I set this to true, not capital, TRUE, and save, this fires immediately. It gets the user that was the persistent user that was saved from the last login, and I'm back here at the logout. So I just wanted to add that change there. All right. So now let's get to creating users. So first, what you could do is if we hop over to, I jumped ahead here a little bit. Let's go back. If we hop over to my collections in my Vue, you can see it's got this button up here for API preview. If you click on API preview and we come in, it basically shows you all the ways to perform CRUD on that collection. And we want to add a user. So if we go down to create, it gives you the code that you need to add a new user to the system. We're not in this video going to cover verification because that requires setting up an email server and all the other stuff. And like I said here, this is just a basic introduction to get you on board. So this is what we're going to do to create a new user. So that's from the PocketBase side. And then now from the application side, let's figure out how we are going to get a user creation page on here. So if I log out and I look here, for creating a user, I'm just going to add one more field, which is a full name. And then if you look here, we have a username, and I'll derive the username. So first, let's hop in and figure out how we're going to determine if we're in a login mode or if we're in a create account mode. So let's get over here and get to this code. And what we will do is we'll introduce a new variable here called login mode. So we'll say const login mode equals ref, and we'll set it to, we'll start off with login mode is true. So when we're in login mode, we're going to show this login UI, and when we're not in login mode, we'll show a different UI. All right. So when we're in, and we'll kind of keep it straight. So this is login mode. We know for login we need our create account button. So we'll just copy our existing UI. Let's change this. We have our second login button. Let's rip this div out. So we get our login buttons on the same line. Let's add a little bit of space here. So we'll say margin right 2 or 3. Let's see what 3 gives us. Oh, I'm adding it to the wrong one. Let me add it to the first one. So delete that, go back up here. And right here, margin right 3. Moves that button over. And then let's come down here and we need to change this to do create account and change this text here to create account. And when your user creates an account, actually all we want to do here is set our login mode equals true. Oh no, login mode equals false. Because once I click that, I want to go to a new, basically an updated UI for creating accounts. And so what we'll do there is, I'm going to try to not write a lot more code. So we're just going to cheat. And what we will say here is that, so this is everything we want to show in this mode. But when we go into, so let's go down here. So I'm going to say div v So if we have a div and then v if I'm in if login mode, then display these login buttons that we just created, right? If I'm not, and this would be v if v else, and this is what we're going to display when you're not in login mode. So so if I go to create account, see the buttons are gone, but we need a new set of buttons down here. So we will copy these buttons and just kind of repurpose them. So, and then also just so we can know what's going on, let's change our title up here too. So we could say login mode is true, then else create account. All right, so I know I'm in create account. And so in create account, this first line here is we want to save the user. Save new user. And, oh, sorry, it's not all uppercase. Save new user. And then down here, we're going to cancel. We don't want to cancel account, we just want to cancel. So get this out of there. And let's change this to something else so we can tell the difference. So we'll just change red. And then let's change our hover to red. And there's one more, visible outline red. All right, and then on cancel, we're going to set login mode back to true. All right, so let's just check that. So create account, I'm back in login mode, create account. And then like I said, when we're creating an account, we want to get a full name. So what we'll do is we will copy this last input here. Oh, what is this? MT. What is that? I'll worry about that later. So let's copy this class. Right? MT, probably MT2 it's supposed to be. No, what did I do? MT2. I don't even know how that got there, but let's see if we can figure it out and clean it up. MT2. Yeah, that's the spacing between the label and the input field. Okay, so we're just going to copy this, all of this stuff, to create another input field. So see here where it says enter password. Let's just copy all of this, and then if we're in create account, we need to show that field. So we're in create account, and now let's go in and clean this up, and we want to change, this is the label for full name, and we're going to change and create a new value, full name, copy full name. Also, let's fix this too, because up here my password should be of type password. So let's fix that. Let's check. Okay, yep. So where was I? Our full name field, full name, enter. So, and now when I save new user, I need to save these three fields: email address, password, full name. And my cancel, my login mode is working. Let's add my new field. Full name, and I think I'm right. So there's login, go to create account, add my full name to it, and save. So let's go up here and look at what do I on my, where is it? There's a fields. This should now be do create account. Do create account. So that should call my do create account function. So let's get to our do create account function. Let's go down here, const do create account. This will be async also. And let's go back. What's happening? All right, so let's go back over here to our documentation for to create a user. This is the example. We'll just copy the example. And let's get our values. So we're going to derive our username, as I said. And the username has to be, I Googled this and found it, based on a regular expression. Where did it go in my notes? A username must match a regular expression that matches a string that starts with the word, character, letter, digit, or underscore, followed by 0 or more word characters or periods. The string must end in a word character. That's what your username needs to be. So we'll get back to that, but let's take the easy ones now. For our email, we have our email that we'll pull. So let's say email.value. Is it email? Oh, sorry. I have username, which really should be email, but we'll just say leave it for now. Value, email visibility is true. Password, we're given. Password.value. And password confirm. Password.value. And for name, we're going to take our full name, .value. And then for the username, we're just going to do this. We're going to say user, and they're saying, I think it said underscore plus, I think I found this, self dot crypto dot random UUID, and then we're going to split it based on this hyphen, and then we're just going to take the first couple of digits. That's how we're going to generate our username. So username, you have our email variable, our visibility is true, our password, our full name. And let's wrap this thing in a try catch to see if we get any errors. And let's just do a simple alert, A-L-E-R-T, error dot message. And then after the account is created, if there were no errors, let's just log the user in. Do login. And we will await for that. Okay, and since we're here, let's just try to be complete and wrap this with our try catch and catch our error. Okay, let's see what we got. So create account. Well, first let's go cancel. Let's make sure the old one works. So Aaron +1@mail.com. Is it password? All right. Is our password so I can log in, log out? Let's check this. My error. Failed to authenticate. Close. Okay. So now let's go to create account. And let's do Aaron +10. We're going to just set password. And then we're going to say Aaron +10. Can't find variable. That's my bad. This needs to be a string. Let's just kind of do it the right way. All right, let's try this again. And I gotta refresh this. So let's refresh this. Not now. Create account. Aaron +10. aaron10@mail.com. Password Aaron plus 10. Oh, and now let's go back here and check and see that I get my user. Collections, here's my users. Where is Aaron plus 10? Aaron plus 10, there's my user that was created. And so now we've created a user. So that is kind of the bulk of what I wanted to cover in this first one. I did a couple of things. I haven't really done many videos, including Tailwind, and honestly, I didn't really go too deep in Tailwind on this one. But I just wanted to show that it can be integrated. I had never done anything with PocketBase, and it's pretty awesome. So far, I'm going to play with it a little bit more. And based on the feedback that I get from this video, just on likes and views, I'll determine if we'll go any further with this. I mean, ideally, you wouldn't put everything all on one page like this. There's some routing that can be integrated, and there's some more things I'd like to play with PocketBase. So let me know what you think, and we'll take it from there. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you found this helpful, and see you next time. Bye.